that's the moment. That's what it's all about.
My name is Kiera Lucas Evans. I'm in the 11th grade, and I go to Oakland Technical High School. Um, I I am an actress in Oakland Inside Out. I actually play 4 different characters: Mr. Respectful, Eugene Augustine, Miss Morrison, and Miss Wheeler. Um, Mr. Respectful, I actually interviewed him in a barbershop with my other peer. She interviewed the barber and I interviewed the customer that was getting his haircut. And it's actually probably our funniest scene because they're pretty comical and they didn't hold their tongues, should I say. So that's mainly why we had to get the explicit version. And I also play Mrs. Wheeler. I interviewed her at a women's shelter. I went right down. It's in North Oakland. I went to a women's shelter. I couldn't actually go inside to meet the women, so she said I could interview her. She was the shelter manager, and actually, it was the most educational interview I ever did. I learned so much from that one lady in 3 hours that I don't know. I guess I'll remember it, what she told me my whole life. That's why I really like this play. I also interviewed my stepdad, Eugene Augustine. He's a custodial supervisor. And I really wanted to interview him, not only because he's my dad, but because he's been a custodian in almost every school. So he knows kind of like the ins and outs of the school, but I get to do it from a custodian's perspective and not in a principal or a teacher. But I actually do play a principal. That's Miss Morrison, my assistant principal. Her character is pretty fun. She was an actress, so she's pretty, yeah, she's pretty out there. But yeah, those are all my characters that I play. I will say that doing the show has been very fun. I mean, it's not like many of the plays I've actually done before. You know, it's something new for me. Ms. J actually came up with it. She actually told us about this in October when we first started the advanced drama class, and she was telling us how we were going to sort of mimic Anna Devere Smith and what she did because she did a film called Twilight, and it was what she did was she interviewed people and their views on the LA riots, and after Rodney King had just gotten beaten and the police officers got acquitted and everything, and she basically interviewed them and asked them questions about how they felt about that, and she embodied them and all their mannerisms and their words, and she spoke their words, and she made a video / documentary of it. And so she would show us that video, and she said we're going to do something like this. And so what we did was we came up with questions we want to ask people about Oakland, and it was about a list of 40 questions or so. And so we got those questions, and then we chose who we wanted to interview. We tried to make sure we got around to everyone, like we got to the artists and the teachers and the different people, you know, different parts of Oakland, different jobs in Oakland, so we can get all the perspectives of Oakland. And so after we picked out who we were going to interview, we set up the interview, and we actually recorded them on recorders, and we watched them. Our main objective was to watch their mannerisms and what they did, and then we could just listen to them later since we recorded it. And then after we interviewed them, we would type it up, and that was probably the longest part, just typing up every single word they said. We couldn't edit out anything yet. We had to type every single word. And then we all came back, and we started editing and cutting the script down and started trying to construct a story that we could tell and what we wanted to say. And we read over all the different interviews, and we came up with an idea of what we wanted to do. And what we came up with is we couldn't come up with one story, one overall theme. Oakland is too complex for that. So we have 2 conflicting themes, you know. Oakland has the violence, Oakland has all the drug dealers and everything else like that, but we also have good things going on. You know, we have art programs and we have everything else. And it's like a lot of people don't see that. So what we wanted to do was show both parts of Oakland and show that we can improve and show hope for the future, I guess. So we did the whole editing process, and we cut down the scripts, and we put different parts together. And then after that, we started memorizing, and we started actually blocking the play and setting up the play. And basically, I would say that this play has been more of like a student-oriented thing. She actually let us dictate what went on. You know, Miss J usually is there all the time, but I guess because of her conflictions, we were able to put our own ideas in it and put what we wanted to in it. And so I really like that, because it's like we work together to create a play. So it's not just Mrs. J's play, it's everyone's play, and everyone had their say in it, and everyone had their different part in it. And so I guess it really like brung us together as a group. Like when I first came to this class, I didn't really know many people. I mean, I knew a few people, but I feel that this show and this play and everything, all that we had to do has brought us together. And I feel that we're actually a theater company. You know, we feel like tight like a theater company. I could talk to anyone and I can be with anyone. And yeah, I really think that has a lot to do with this play. I will say that it was kind of a struggle. I mean, it wasn't all easy, but I think it was worth the struggle, you know, worth the fighting and everything else. But I think we all came up on top, and I think this play should get out to different people, because, you know, the whole Oscar Grant riots and everything like that, and it feels like Oakland is getting so much bad publicity in the recent times, and I feel like this is something positive we can put out there. And, you know, we did this on our own, and we're trying to, you know, show people that we can change Oakland. We don't have to be this stereotypical place where everything is just bad. You know, we can change ourselves. We can change our views. And I think that's what I really want to do with this play. That's what I want people to get out of it, you know. It's like more to a play to me. It's more of a chance to inform people, I guess.
So my name is Molly Katz, and I am a senior at Oakland Technical High School. And for this play, Oakland Inside Out, I interviewed 3 characters. Their names are Josh Fuchs, Carrie Hamill, and Lee Tran. Josh Fuchs is the student support coach here at Tech, and was my PE teacher in 9th grade, and is someone that a lot of people can, you know, see around campus, and he's really tall, so I thought it would be interesting to interview him. And then Carrie Hamill is my mom, and she also ran for city council and was on the school board for 8 years. So she inspires me a lot, so I thought it would be interesting to interview her. And then Lee Tran is the student body president here at Tech, and he's kind of quite a character, and he's kind of crazy, so he's kind of a dynamic character to play on stage. And so basically, Miss J told us the idea back at the beginning of the year, and we had to, you know, pick people that we wanted to interview and set up the interviews. And then we went to, you know, certain places to interview them. Like for Mr. Fuchs, I interviewed him after school one day when he was interacting with the students and with other teachers, just so that I could kind of see like what his day-to-day life was. And then with Lee, like he was eating lunch, and he likes to eat a lot, so that was kind of interesting to see him eating and talking. And then my mom I interviewed at home after she had done like a campaign thing. And so we set up the interviews, and we had recorders, and so we would be recording them and really watching like their body language and their gestures and what they would do and how they would say every word. And then we went over with the recorders, and we listened to the speech patterns and wrote down all of their words. And then we all brought all of our characters' words in, and kind of and we made a script out of that. We didn't use everyone's word, obviously, because we would have been here forever, but we took what we really liked from each character and formulated it into a full-length piece. And that was kind of a difficult process, because there were all these words, and we didn't really know exactly how we wanted to take interviews and make it into a story. And as well, like a lot of us are hard-headed, and so we kind of conflicted and everything. But once we kind of came up with a general idea of like, okay, we want to do a safety section, or we want to do a section on the police and on violence, and then, you know, formulated it into this full-on piece, and got that all together and